First of all, a very good evening to everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to welcome you all today, once again, to today's IRE Talks. I'm Professor Sandeep Bansali, and IRE Talks always have been bringing a lot of brilliant minds who share their stories of innovation, and we learn a lot of things from some of the best in the industry. So today we have a special personality who gonna be talking about entrepreneurial mindset, key to business success. So for all those students who are new to this IRE talks, let me introduce about GIBS Business School. So GIBS Business School is an institution placed in Bangalore, a place where education meets innovation. Students are empowered to become future-ready leaders, entrepreneurs, as well as the change makers. GIBS is a top AICTE approved business school that offers PGDM with dual specialization and BBA program affiliated to Bangalore University. What makes us unique is our practice schools of excellence, where we focus on real world learning through specialized schools such as School of AI, the Finishing School, the School of Youth Leadership, as well as the School of Happiness and Mindfulness. We believe education should not be prepare the students just for the jobs, but also to shape them into the leaders, thinkers, as well as entrepreneurs who can create an impact in the world. And when we speak about IRE, IRE stands for Innovation, Research, and Entrepreneurship. And IRE Talks is our way of bringing the industry leaders into the classrooms. It's a platform where we get to hear first-hand experiences from the visionaries, entrepreneurs, as well as the business leaders, as well as the change makers who shape the future. And today, I'm really very thrilled and excited to guest for today's IRE Talk, Mr. Vishwas Mudagal, CEO, author, as well as the founder of Goodworks Group, a visionary entrepreneur and a business leader. He has built some of India's fastest growing and most innovative companies across technology consulting, SaaS, AI, co-working spaces, and corporate upskilling. His leadership at Goodwork Labs, Goodwork Co-works, Sansovi, as well as NetSkill Academy reflects his passion for creating solutions that empowers the business to scale, innovate, as well as thrive into a rapidly changing world. So we are really very, very excited to hear from you, sir. So over to you. And for all the students, in case if you have any questions, probably you can put it across in the Q&A. We'll take up at the end of the session. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, Sandeep, for that. I'm glad to be here talking to the students and talking to your audience. And just to give a quick 2-minute intro about myself. Basically, I'm an entrepreneur by by birth. I could say it's in my blood. I'm a teenage entrepreneur, and as far as I can recollect, I always wanted to build companies. I wanted to convert my ideas into reality, convert my ideas into business, right? Something that gives a huge impetus for the ecosystems around. I wanted to create systems. Okay, so that is something that I've been very passionate about, and my whole life I have been creating that. And I have been very self-focused, right? So I really don't care about what anybody else is doing. I just want to do something that thrills me, motivates me, and that has been one of the key factors of my guiding principles. Like that is my philosophy in life. Sandeep had basically asked me like to see if we can share a PPT, but I had not prepared it. But few things that on the fly I just put together. Can I share my screen, Sandeep? So today I'm going to talk about basically the entrepreneurial mindset, which is key to business success. And it is very important that I need to tell the first thing about entrepreneurship is that it is nothing to do about starting a company or business or something like that. It is actually about a mindset. You can be an entrepreneur or you can be an employee. You can just be even an unemployed person, but you can still be an entrepreneur in your mind. Okay, that is something that really matters. This is something that I coined. I wrote this in my book. I'm also an author. I write fiction basically, and Losing My Religion was my first book. And this is something that I wrote. I dedicated the whole book on to the entrepreneurs, and I define entrepreneurs as different beasts who don't give a damn, who kick ass when required, who stand up to a challenge, and who rise time and again with utter disregard to fear or failure. These are beasts who run the world. Okay, this is something that I define as a kind of a term for entrepreneurs. And when I look at my life, it's been such a roller coaster ride and so many failures that I have gone through. And when I look back, it feels as though it is it was required for me to fail to be at a point where I am right now. So there were so many learning points, which I feel that having a entrepreneurial mindset requires you to go through these churn. Okay, that is important. And today I think I'd love to like talk about some of these key tenets, okay, on how to achieve an entrepreneurial mindset to get certain success in your life and business, right? So I'm going to cover about 7 or 8 points, and also going to focus on some of the anecdotes, like what are all things that happened with me and something that can also benefit you guys, right? So the first thing that I would like to talk about is that it is always about resilience over talent. Okay, that is something that always happens because talent is common. Okay, a lot of people are talented, but what is missing in everybody out there, very rarely you can find, is resilience. Okay, you don't need to be a genius to win. You need to just stay in the game long enough, longer than others, to win. Okay, that is something, it's a very simple principle which nobody understands, but it needs perseverance. Like, it takes like 10 years for you to understand any career, for any business. Okay, it just takes about 3 to 4 years just to understand a business. So it just takes time. And most of the people give up even before getting there, right? So I'll just tell you one incident that happened when we started Goodworks Group. We started as a tech house, and we had started Goodwork Labs. And then this customer comes to our office, and then we had a very tiny office that time, like, 8 by 10 kind of office, a small room. And the customer came from like a big company, and then he was expecting some large office, I think. And that time we didn't have anything. It was in 2013. So we didn't have a co-working or some any fancy kind of offices that time. And this customer comes inside, and then he's like, okay, where is the office? And I was like, me and my co-founder. So we were like, okay, this is the office. Okay, there's nothing more than this. And then he was so uncomfortable. You can see that he just left. He just made some bahana and is like, guys, I need to leave right now. And then he just, left the office and he ran. So me and Sonia, my co-founder, like, we looked at each other and we were like devastated. We were like so hurt that day, right? So the same person, like, after like 5 years, he just saw me on LinkedIn, and we were posting about our growth and all of that. And then he basically called me, and then he's like, hey, Vishwas, I know that day when I came to meet you, and then I had to like kind of like move on. And I think it was rude of me. I shouldn't have done it. So he was kind of like apologizing. That's when I told him that, hey, why are you apologizing? Actually, I should be thanking you. He's like, why, you should be thanking me. I said, if you had not practically insulted me that day, I wouldn't have like been pushed out of my comfort zone. And today I have like more than like 1 million square foot of office space. Okay, Goodworks is like one of the largest like co-working and managed office player right now in India. And so I should thank you for pushing me out of that, because after that itself I started looking at bigger offices, and then I was like trying to grow and stuff. So I think entrepreneurship is all about resilience. It's all about basically not giving up, and basically converting insults into glory. And basically, it is about understanding that you have to be getting out of your comfort zone. Restlessness is important in entrepreneurship. So I think that is something that was some of the things that this was like a game changer for me, right? So this is the first thing that I learned. And the second point was, you need to fall in love with the problems, not with the ideas. Great entrepreneurs chase ugly customer problems, ugly ones. I mean, you will not even believe, right? Actually, if you look at it, your startup isn't your baby. The customer's pain is your baby. Okay, a lot of people like just get confused about the whole thing, and that's when things go terribly wrong for them. Okay, so for example, okay, so when Flipkart started, all right, so what was their mission, right? Because I still remember, it was not to build a unicorn, it was not to basically solve like a great problem out there. Okay, all they wanted to do was deliver a book fast enough in India. Okay, very small, boring, messy stuff, but deeply painful for customers. Okay, so now that's when they started, and that's how they grew big, because big brands are built by chasing pain, not vanity, not some like fancy stuff. Okay, so that's why you need to understand that, fall in love with the problems, like own the problems, and there are problems everywhere, right? That's the thing, right? So some of the people, they ask me, how do we innovate, Vishwas? Tell me, how do we innovate, right? So the key to innovation is questioning the status quo, experimenting. These are some of the key elements of innovation, right? So for example, if you look at Tesla, for example, the way they are trying to innovate, right? So if we are just happy with the diesel engines, petrol engines, like somebody had to bring in the EVs, right? So somebody has to bring in internet over satellite, right? So you're trying to like pushing the boundaries. So that is very important, because they're trying to solve the problem with innovation, right? So the other key thing which a lot of the people out there forget to understand is, you need to show progress. Okay, so to yourself, to the stakeholders out there, to everybody out there, you need to show progress. And for the longest time, I focused on perfection. Okay, I focused on perfection, and then I was like, okay, I'm not getting progress enough. I'm not getting enough progress, right? So that's when I realized that you need progress over perfection, right? You need to focus on people over process, right? That's important, because processes are important, but people are even more important. Okay, perfection is important, but speed is important, progress is important. So what is important to understand is, adopt an agile way of working. Very important. Agile way of working. You need to iteratively build your startup or your business or your work, wherever you're working right now. You need to iteratively do it, keep moving forward, right? Launch messy, learn fast, keep going forward, right? That's very important. This reminds me of actually Instagram. Okay, so if you look at Instagram, it's like super fancy right now. It's like the most amazing app out there in the whole world right now, right? So it's like so sleek, so amazing right now, right? To look at the gleamy, everybody is like trying to like put out their best content there and all that. But do you know, when they started, they were like this very clunky whiskey check-in app. Okay, they were called Bourbon, to check in the whiskeys, right? So it was very sad thing. But they kept tweaking it. They kept dropping features, right? Until one thing picked up, photo sharing, okay, feature. It picked up. It took off, right? So that is what is a game changer. They did not wait for perfection, right? So if they had waited for perfection, Instagram wouldn't have been there today. So they kept dropping features. They kept saying, okay, where the traction is, and they kept going forward, right? That is very important. Remember, the graveyard of startups is filled with perfect plans that never launched. Okay, filled with perfect plans that never launched. There are so many of my friends, so many of my people who come to me for my suggestions, my advice on Instagram and all these places, and they never start. They never start, right? So that is a problem. So do not wait. You need to start today. You need to start today, right? So that is very important. Some of the things that people never understand, but I think that is something that you need to understand, that you need to start. You need to have some kind of a progress, right? That is important. Okay. So the next point is the fail small, fail fast, fail forward. Okay, so this is where you need to understand that small failure teach fast, very fast. So but some of the failures are like very, very hard to digest. And I also learned this rule number 4 in a very hard way. My first company was called Jobby Hive, and we started as a bootstrapped company, and then we spent like 2 years on this idea, and we had like really amazing traction, millions of hits and lakhs of users. But back then we did not focus on one thing, monetization, right? And this was in like 2008, 2009, and venture capital funds, angel funds were like hardly like non-existent. So we practically like went bankrupt, and I had to like shut shop, and then I had nothing else to do at this point in time, right? So I was thinking in my mind that I'm like the biggest failure on earth, and all the blogs and newspapers were writing about me, and this guy is like shut down this stuff and all of that. But it was so amazing that I got this call from the a company in Canada, right? And they told me that they want to hire me as their CEO. And then I thought it's a prank call. I was like, why would you hire me, right? It's because I'm a failure right now. Why would you hire me? And then they told me that it's not a prank call, and we have actually researched about you, and we want you because of the technology that you have used for your startup. We want you because of the scale that you have brought for your startup. That is the thing that we want. And then they wanted me to be their CEO for their India division, APAC division. And then like in 24 hours, I went from being a bankrupt entrepreneur to being like a CEO for a multinational company. And that day I realized that there is no concept of failure in life. And these small little failures teach you so much more than success. And so that is something that is big value, a lesson. So basically, if you're scared of failing, you're scared of growing, right? So that is the bottom line here. Okay. And very cliche. Some of the things that I'm telling you right now, rule number 5 is network is equal to net worth. Extremely cliched. This is as old as humanity itself. This like equation out there, but the most underrated, the most valuable advice anybody can give you, and it'll never change ever, because relationships shortcut your journey. Okay, I'm not even kidding, because the right connections can save you like 5 years of hustle. If you just know the right people, you're gonna reach places. Okay, so it just there's a saying. So if the kind of people you surround yourself, your net worth will just keep basically averaging out, and you will start like going towards their like the higher end of the average. That is how it is. So basically you hang around with the intellectuals, you hang along with entrepreneurs, you hang with like basically millionaires. Chances are you'll be a millionaire. I'm not kidding. But if there's an opportunity, just try to be around people who are achievers. That's why choosing your network is everything, right? So if you have access, it's not only about access, right? It's about by the end of it, I'll maybe like give like a small playbook of how you can build entrepreneurial mindset, and I'll tell you how to like build your network as well, right? So we will get to that. Okay. So this is going to be very, very important for entrepreneurial mindset. And rule number 6 is your personal branding. Very, very important, because money flows only to those people who are known. Okay, that's how it is. Because if you are not known, money is not going to flow through you. Okay, that's the thing, right? So the more people know you, the more they'll come to you, and especially in your target segment. I'm not saying that everybody needs to be like a celebrity. No, that's not the point. The point is, in your field, in your domain, you need to make a mark. For that niche thing, you need to make a mark. That is important. You can be doing boring things. Okay, you can be just like a mechanic, but I think you need to build that brand for yourself. It's like that Instagram star who's like making tea, right? The way he like pours the tea and all of that. He's trying to make a brand for himself, and then he goes to all around the place. He's become like a social media influencer and stuff, right? So especially in the time of social media, building a personal brand is very important. Putting out your story, putting out your thought process out there. You come up with your website, come up with your blog, come up with your post, your reels, showcasing your craft. That is very important. So these degrees will not save you, but these brand that you want to build for yourself, that is going to come and save you, right? That's something that very, very important. And you need to like build assets, right? You don't rent your time. So that's the whole point. So you need to think ownership, not employment. Very important. It's a big misconception out there that to be like super successful, you need to start a company, or you need to be an entrepreneur, you need to quit your job and start. No, it's not the thing. That's not it. It's how it works. You can be an entrepreneur anywhere you are, right? So you can run your team like a startup. You can be in the most boring organization, but you can spice it up by creating that ownership and building a brand for yourself in your company. It could be any large company that's out there, and then you don't have to wait to get promoted. You need to take control, yeah, in your hand. So energy is important. Energy and communication is important. Like when I spoke about the personal brand in rule number 6, it also means that you need to communicate, right? So communication is very, very important. Communication, communication, communication. There's nothing like over communication. I think you just need to do it, right? So that is very, very important. In my opinion, it's worked wonders for me, because I think there is a saying, if I'm not wrong, from Narayan Murthy or somebody, that if you, whatever job is given to you, do it with such dedication, such perfection, that they keep giving you more and more responsibilities, basically. Then you start like, going up the value chain, right? So very important lesson, basically, for you to understand. And work is worship. Work is worship, something that I believe since my birth. And always be ready to roll up your sleeves and make your hands dirty, because some people, when they're starting to like get to like 5-6 years of experience, and then 8 years, 10 years, then they're like, okay, I'm too big now. I cannot learn something new. I cannot do something hands-on. I need like a ton of people to do it. That era is gone. Right now, the era of AI is here, and then you practically just replacing humans and left, right, and center right now at this point in time. So it's important that you understand AI, you understand how to leverage AI, so that going forward, you need lesser and lesser people to do things. Okay, because the AI is going to do a ton of it. It's very important that you basically have the ownership to utilize the resources around you, learn the latest things that's happening around you, and drive results. Okay, very important. Driving results is very important. Okay, that's one thing. Okay, so that is like the 7 things that I wanted to talk to you about. But the ultimate thing, I believe that I always tell people, the most ultimate thing is you need to believe that you're born to do great things. If the belief is not there, you cannot do anything. You cannot do anything. So you need to believe that you're born to do great things, and actually you will, right? So this is something that you need to understand. You need to believe in yourself. And a person who doesn't believe in himself or herself is a person who will be very shallow. Okay, you will need to be validated by everybody at every step. You're like second guessing yourself, and you need to think that you're special, and you need to feel that you have a voice. You want to go out there and create that a ripple effect in your own way, right? So I think that is very important. Okay, so this, with this, like, I'm giving you like a broad like a construct of how we can like build like a entrepreneurial mindset. And a lot of people have asked me, okay, how do I build an entrepreneurial mindset? Like, is there like a rule book? Is there like a rule, the way we can do it? So what I feel is that, there are like four things that you can do, right? One is kind of journal. Journaling is very important, right? Writing down, it is a piece of paper. One, you journal basically three things every day, like some failures or wins every day. So that brings a lot of clarity in your mind. Okay, what worked, what didn't get, any traction. Okay, what succeeded, what made me happy, what made me sad. Okay, that's very important. Like, gives you like introspection. Um, that's number one. Journal every day. Number two, talk to one stranger every week. Okay, just talk to one stranger. Just send them a LinkedIn request. Maybe just talk to them in a neighborhood. Go to the gym and talk to somebody. Go to in a pub. You go talk to somebody. While having a drink. So whatever, right? So or you're jogging, you talk to somebody. It's very important that you talk to somebody, uh, especially in the professional setting, is great. Like, LinkedIn is a great place to actually talk to people. There are a lot of people willing to talk. But networking events is another one. Go to networking events, talk to people, right? So that's the second one. Third one is launch a tiny project every month. No matter how tiny it is, just launch small tiny project every month. Okay, because people do not have a habit of converting their ideas into reality. Okay, you need to make that a practice, because people talk and talk and talk, but they don't do anything. Okay, so you need to be a person who will do the talking. So how do you do that? You need practice. You need to start small. So do one tiny project. It could be like art piece. It could be, say, for example, you're writing a blog, for a particular thing. You're doing any idea that you can just get into some kind of fruition, and then you could take it like big after that. You build a community of, like art lovers, maybe. Then you make it, like add some another idea, like, selling art online. I'm just giving you an idea right now, but there are many ways of going through it, right? Momentum compounds faster than ideas. So that's very important. You getting into that momentum, you'll become unstoppable. Okay. So those are the three points. The fourth point is very important. Read 10 pages a day. Okay. So knowledge is the only asset that compounds without inflation, is what people say. Okay. So kind of read whatever it is. Okay. Worst come worst, go to ChatGPT and just ask it to, give you some content. You read through it. ChatGPT these days has become like the best advisor for a lot of people out there. But you need to know how to use it. You need to become a prompt engineer. Basically, for that, you need to know what to prompt. So very important. So I think these things are important. These 4 points are important. Number one, journaling. Number two, talking to a stranger every week. Number three is launch one tiny project every month. Number four is basically read 10 pages a day. Okay, so these are four things. Do not forget it. Just make it happen. And take one tiny, like a mini project. Maybe like, if you don't want, like, let's look at by next week, maybe. If you want like a mini challenge, you don't just post something, pitch something, build something out there. Okay, by next Sunday, maybe in the next 10 days, right? So without delaying on your dreams, without giving any excuses, just go there and do something. And tag me also on Instagram, or I'm on LinkedIn. So just tag me, and I'll also like, hey, just keep going. Let's do that. We spoke to each other as GIBS and stuff like that. Okay, so we'll be there to push each other, right? So that's what we can do. So let's maybe take it a challenge. So yeah, with that, like, I'm going to, like, close my talk. And so basically the whole thing is, you're not waiting for the right time, right? You're just waiting until you're too scared to move, right? So what is important is that entrepreneurship rewards the movers, not the thinkers. So that's very, very important, that you should be the mover, you should be the doer. That is important. Just not a thinker, not just like a talker, right? That's important. So with that, I'm going to kind of like stop talking. I spoke too much, and we'll see if you guys have any questions. We can answer it. I'm going to stop sharing as well.
I must say, it was amazing. It was so thoughtful. You've just put it across in a very simplest way possible, so that no jargons, straight to the points. What you have kept it. I must say, I make notes a lot of things, but today I think I've made most of the notes what you mentioned today. So I love learning all those things. Thank you so much for that, Mr. Mudagal. So we'll just take up the questions which has been asked by our audience. Okay, the first point says, have been following you over Instagram since a quite long time, sir. Glad to hear from you today. So, Joyson, thank you so much for joining in.
Thank you so much,
And
Joyson. Thank you so much. And I would love for all of you guys to follow me on Instagram. I keep dropping reels and these small anecdotes, small learnings from my life and people around me every day. I think I'm also calling it like a new India series, like a India that I am envisioning right now, like a new India was what I call it. And what does it take for people to succeed in this new India, right? Both from a personal perspective, business perspective, career perspective. I think it's a good place for me to learn. And I'm also posting like content that people are sending me as well, right? So that's good.
all right, so the next question says, how to stay focused on our vision when things go wrong.
Right. So things are going wrong all the time, right? So if you look at, I give you this basic example of failures in my life. If you like count the number of the times I have failed in my life, my God, I think Akanksha, you will think that my life is a sad story. You will be like, you'll cry. but but I make it like a life like worth living. It's a life of great adventure because I want it to be an adventure, right? It's up to me how I want it, and not every day I'm going to get up and I'm going to feel so energetic. No, but it's my vision, it's my discipline, right? That's what gets you over the finish line. Okay, so it's important to have a vision, even though if you don't have like what I mean to say is you don't know exactly what you want. Okay, I never know in 10 years exactly this is where I'm going to be, this is why I'm chasing it. No, that's not how it works. You just need to have broad vision. Okay, you need to have a passion, you need to have something that you know what you're good at, and you something that you enjoy. You need to keep moving towards it, and when you're moving towards it, there are going to be disturbances, right? Is you're like you having fights with your like husband or wife or boyfriend or girlfriend. Somebody in your family is going to fall sick. One of your friends is going to something's going to happen. The company you're working goes bankrupt, and the world catches fire, and COVID happens, and World War III happens, blah blah blah. All this happens, but if you still keep going towards that vision, you will be positive because you have a reason to go towards something. It's very important. Otherwise, the world is full of sadness. But you just turn it around.
Amazing.
The world is amazing. It's full of adventure. So it's about how you look at
The
it.
absolute right example which you mentioned in one of your reels, when that was moreover for about the apple tree,
Apple
which
tree, yes.
apple tree one. So which always we see a different apple tree, and
Yeah,
in a different season it is completely a different one altogether. So
absolutely.
it's the way you see that
Absolutely. When I looked at that apple tree in Herschel, when I had gone to that trial,
Uttarakhand.
I could not believe it. It looks like a burnt tree, it just literally is burnt. Okay. The same tree gives you such amazing apples, come the spring, and it just blossoms. Big inspiration.
Great. All right. So thank you so much for that. So we'll move to the next question. Diana asked, what are the effective methods for solving business problems creatively?
Yeah. So there are many ways of solving business problems. One of the key things that I do is I take a step back, and I do like a root cause analysis. We look at what went right, what went wrong, and then we uh, look at analyzing some of the key facts that actually happen. And I'm a big believer of numbers. We need to look at, okay, uh, where is the problem? Identifying a problem. It's like debugging your code. Basically, somewhere it has gone wrong, right? So that is very important. And then basically what you need to do is you need to come up with the scenarios. Going forward, what will be the scenarios? Number one, number two, number three, and then you plan for a couple of scenarios and you start experimenting, basically. For example, COVID happened. All of a sudden, businesses shutting down. So what needs to happen right now? So the whole world is thinking, businesses analyze what they need to do, look at the problem statement, and they shift it digital, right? Work from home. All the other starts of stuff, like all the business, like suddenly moved. Same thing that you need to do for yourself. That is a perfect example. So you need to like basically always come up with these experiments and see whether the traction is happening.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So the next question is, how do entrepreneurs inspire and motivate their teams?
There are many ways of doing it. That basically comes to your leadership style, and every leader has their own style. Some people are like driven by numbers. Some people are doers. Basically, they do, and then everybody else follows them. Some people make the system, and then they put some leaders, and then they support from in the back. Some people give funding, and then they look at creating incubations. Incubating the ideas. The many ways of basically motivating a team. So it all depends on the construct, your business model, and what exactly is the situation, basically, right? But I am a big believer of few things, right? To feel they are in control. It's very important, right? And very early, I already made this mistake where I made a big mistake. I made like mistake like I felt that I need to have a say in every decision the team makes. I have done that previously, and then I realized that the team is getting nowhere because by the end of it, they are like always reliant on you to come back and get your validation and stuff, right? So I think the best idea should, and then the team needs to be motivated enough to lead themselves. It's very important. So there are many things to leadership, many things to team dynamics. So I think, yeah. So I think that's it.
So Anthony is asking, like, what is the best way to gather the feedback from the customers?
So is to talk to them, right? So what ends up happening is that as you continue to build a business, entrepreneurs make this one huge mistake. They don't talk to customers. So they build products and the customers don't use the product. They build features, they feel that it's okay, that is right thing to do and stuff like that. And then customer never needs it. That's where customers will start getting frustrated, and that's where most of the businesses go wrong. They fail. And especially when you want to create a product or create a service, there are a few things that come into mind which you should always follow, which I follow. One is what do you say, a lean framework. Okay, lean startup framework is very important, which basically tells you that you need to build a MVP, that is a minimum viable product. So what is an MVP? So suppose you want to build like a fancy car, okay, and then that's like a huge list of things. What do you want? So basically, what it tells is that first you build a basic car with few features that are very, very important for you, so that you can go to the market, get the customer feedback. You talk to the customers, and then you validate the learning, okay, and then you come back with the learning and you add more and more features in a very iterative way. Okay, so that's the best way of hearing back from the customer. That's number one. Okay, that's called like a lean philosophy, which something I asked you guys to like maybe research on it. There's a lot of content out there about it. Works all the time, like a beauty, right? So the second thing is that you always build with a customer. Very important, especially if it is a B2B idea. Get a pilot customer, give it them for free also, it's okay. The first customer, second customer, give
Build
them a
with
free
them.
also, it's okay. Because if they are, kind of using your platform, your product, your service, they're testing your product and then giving you a feedback because they actually use it. They'll tell you, okay, don't do this, flow is not working, this service is not working, you tweak the model, this pricing model doesn't work for me, this pricing model works for me, right? Don't charge me lump sum, charge me per hour, things like that, right? So then you will tweak it. It's very important. Now there is another thought process altogether, which I call as Steve Jobs' way of thought process. His thought process is that customer never knows what he or she wants, okay, unless they see what they want. So very, very different thing. That's where innovation, some of the innovators, like they do, like you create, suddenly one day you come and you show the iPhone to the world, right? So, and then like, okay, then I need that customer, unless they see it, they'll not realize they want it. So, but I still suggest you not go with the Steve Jobs approach, go with the iterative approach, because much easier to achieve it.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for that. So, next question is, what mindset should one adapt when facing financial constraints?
Okay, so basically what happens is you need to be frugal. Okay. I'm a big believer of being frugal because we are a bootstrapped company. Whatever I've built right now, okay, the whole Goodworks group that we have built, of course, we have a few investors depending on the business type, but largely it is bootstrapped. And the reason it is that is because I want to be frugal and I always have financial constraints. Constraints in the sense, you're always working under a set boundary, like we need to be profitable, you need to be a real business, because we cannot just go and raise some funds with some, some fancy idea, like that will make investors to put money, but you're actually not building actual business, right? That is something that we don't want to do. So being frugal has really helped us, and today we are a very sizable group. We have about 6 group companies, and we're one of the faster growing conglomerates right now, and AI powered conglomerates, new age businesses, right? And so the only reason we are able to do it is because we are frugal, and we have for financial prudence, which is very important. We are profitable from day one. And that is something that I would suggest you guys to focus on. Being frugal is important.
Great. Thank you so much. We will take just last couple of questions more. Uh, Nandini is asking, how do you avoid analysis paralysis when making decisions?
So basically what ends up happening is sometimes people do not want to take decisions, right? Because they're afraid of failures. That's what happens. And that's the reason you need to set a culture of experimenting. Okay, that is very important. In our company, we have a culture of doing 2 or 3 pivots every year. So what is a pivot? Pivot is basically an experiment, a new tangent of business never attempted before. Okay. So co-working was a pivot because we are not a real estate company, we're a software company. But we did it because we had a one floor, one project didn't kick off, and then we had a floor, and then we had made it really beautiful. And then we felt that it's about 7, 8 years ago, and then I felt like, why don't we experiment with co-working? We have a floor empty, we can do something. And then it was a success. Like, in like 3 months, we had filled the floor basically. And then we kept taking floor by floor and we kept growing like that, right? So that was a success. Some of the other experiments were failures, right? Many of them were failures, right? So things like that. So that's very important to have those pivots. So this will um, basically help you to overcome a lot of those paralysis. But there's one more thing which I always tell people, that never fix something that is not broken. Okay, this is very important, actually. So very important. So if it's something is working, it's working. Sometimes things are just working amazingly, so we should not meddle with that.
Very, very true. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Vishwas, for that. I must say it was an amazing session. A lot of good content and thoughtful thoughts what we have got it today. So I would love to acknowledge and express my gratitude for shedding the light on the entrepreneurial mindset coupled up with resilience and innovation. So what happens is we would love to host you also probably at the campus so that we can have one-on-one interaction with all our students will be benefited out of it. So looking forward to get associated for the upcoming seminars or probably the offline sessions as well. Thank you so much for taking out time for all your audience and sharing your thoughts. Thank you. Thank you once again. And I would love to extend my big thank you to all the audience who've joined in. And I would love to say this that Mr. Vishwas is very, very active on Insta as well as on LinkedIn. So we'll have as they give the small assignment for all of us. Let's do something a tiny project and probably let's tag and let's grow together is what we believe in. So I'm sure, as he rightly mentioned, your network is your net worth. So the moment you connect with Mr. Vishwas, I'm sure your net worth gonna increase day on day. That's for sure.
Yes.
So looking forward for
Let's
that.
do that. Yes, let's do that.
Yeah, thank you so much. And everybody, thank you so much for joining in. So stay connected. You can like and subscribe GIBS IRE Talks on all the social media channels to stay updated with all our upcoming IRE Talks, as well as other podcasts which we live stream it there. Thank you so much. Until then, stay curious, keep learning. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mudagal, for joining in. It was really amazing having you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. All the best, guys, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.